Hi guys, welcome or welcome back to my channel. My name is Katie, and in today's video, we are going to be talking about my 2021 reading review. So basically in this video, what I'm going to be talking about is kind of like the stats, if you will, of my 2021 reading year, kind of talking about the books that I read. You know, it's like your statistics. If you're like, you like your numbers, things like that, this is for you. If you're just nosy, this is for you. Because I know I watch these just because I'm nosy. But so 2021 was a good year for me. It was a better year than the previous one. The previous year, I read 13 books. Okay, but I was also still in grad school. So we're going to give myself a little break. So I'm going to get onto my Goodreads because Goodreads does that handy dandy like year in review, and I love that because I don't remember none of this stuff, but Goodreads does. In my year in review, I read 44 books this year. That's a whole lot more than I read last year with the whole 13. Like, I'm proud of myself. 44 plus with finishing grad school, plus with doing a national like counseling exam, plus starting a full-time job. 44 books is not bad. I will take it. I will take it.
Glen Coco? Fall for you, Glen Coco. You go, Glen Coco.
And I read 15,825 pages, which doesn't seem like a lot because I read 44 books. But I guess, I don't read long books. I just read books. But I'm still, pretty proud with that. Okay, my shortest book was 84 pages. My longest book was 757. So my shortest was Thirst for the Night by Katie Robert, which is a novella. And it is about a ménage à trois. 1, 2, 3. And it was just down to the point. It's a novella, so you only have so much room to play with before you need to get to like the point of the story. And it's actually the next one is something for Forever Theirs, I think, and that was a full-length book. So she introduced the characters in the first one, like the novella, and then it went on to like have a full story. It's like a prince, his bodyguard, and this girl they meet at a club. So it was interesting. I liked it. And then the longest book was A Court of Silver Flames by Sarah J. Maas, and it was 757 pages. And I read this one, I'm pretty sure in February when it came out. And of course, it's about Nesta and Cassian. Nesta's not my favorite character. She's really still not my favorite character, even after that book. That's my opinion! I'm sorry, I'm a Feyre stan. I love Feyre and I love Rhysand, and I can't even, like, I liked the book. Okay, no, I liked the smut in the book. Nesta's she's still just okay for me. I'm sorry. My average book length was 359 pages, which sounds about right because I don't think I really read anything I really think that was like the only book that I read that was over even like 400 pages. Maybe I read something else over 400. Oh yeah, Pretty Girls. Okay, so my most popular book that I read this year was The Silent Patient by Alex Michaelides. I loved this book. This book was like, it's one of my favorite thrillers that I read this year. And then I read his second one. No, ma'am, no.
No, ma'am. No, ma'am.
It didn't hit the same. It didn't hit the same. Like, the atmosphere was good, the writing's good, everything's so good, and then you get down to like the reveal of who was killing and for what reason, and I was just like, really? Really? I did not care for that one. The least popular book was For the Love of Friends, and I got this book from NetGalley, and I read it, and it's about a girl. Oh, right. She's a girl, and she has to be in like 6 different weddings in the span of like a year. And it's just kind of her like exploring her friendships, dealing with bridezillas. And to make money for all these weddings, she starts an anonymous blog. Well, they eventually find out. But it is a cute story nonetheless. Okay, so my average rating was a 4.4. Now, about my ratings, look, it doesn't take much to get like a 5-star out of me. Like, I don't really know how I go about like rating my books or how I go about like deciding if it's a 5-star or not. So I decided to change that for next year. And in my 2022 reading goals, I will talk a little bit about that, like how I'm going to do my ratings for next year. I was either way too harsh on books because I thought I needed to be, or I was just way too easy on my books because I didn't care. So I need to find like the happy medium in between the 2 for next year. Okay, so my highest rated book on Goodreads is A Court of Mist and Fury, but I'm not surprised it's this because this book is amazing. And this is my favorite in the series. I love this book. Is it my favorite that I read this year? No. I don't know. You can't make me choose. I've been through this with you guys. I did my favorite romance. I did my favorite thrillers. You just can't make me decide. Oh, okay. So my first review of the year, this was actually Bunny was actually the first book that I wrote a review for. So like I would rate my readings, but I wouldn't write a review because I just don't have time. I can't be bothered. So I did. And my review was, what did I just read? Because what did I read? I don't know. I don't know. This book, and I gave it a 3 stars because I didn't know what I read. I don't know if it's supposed to be like a thriller, a horror. Like it's just so out there that I don't know. But like, did I enjoy while I was reading? I did, but I just cannot tell you like what was its purpose? Like what was the takeaway from the book? Not that I guess there needs to be one, but yeah. Okay, so here are my 2021 books. So I'm going to go ahead and go kind of through them with you guys because I'm not going to do like what I read in 2021. So I'm just going to do it here because this is my stats and my year in review. So I started the year off right though. I started the year off with A Court of Mist and Fury because I had just finished ACOTAR the previous year. I love this book. This is my favorite in the series. I absolutely adore this book. I then went on to read A Court of Waynes and Ruin and then A Court of Frost and Starlight. They're all good books, but nothing compares to Akhmov. Sorry. I then read Josh and Hazel's Guide to Not Dating. I enjoyed that. I thought it was cute. I put it in my top favorite romances, I'm pretty sure. I liked Josh and Hazel. It was a cute friends to lovers romance. Christina Lauren's always like a safe bet if you want to get into romance, but you are afraid it's going to be like too heavy and you don't want to do that. Always start with the Christina Lauren. I really did enjoy this one. And then I read No Exit by Taylor Adams, and it was amazing. This was my first thriller, like, period. I'm pretty sure, like, in the adult genre of thrillers, it was my first. It set the bar, and I absolutely loved this book. If you haven't read it, read it by now. Like, I'm pretty sure, like, so many people has had to read it, right? Like, by now, because it's talked about, like, everywhere. It's being made into a movie for Hulu, so just do yourself a favor. If you haven't read it, read it in the coming year. Okay, I then read A Court of Silver Flames, and I already talked about that one. Like I said, Nesta's not my favorite, but, you know, we let it go. I read Daisy Jones and the Six by Taylor Jenkins Reid. I loved this book. I'm pretty sure I gave it a 5 out of 5. And if you love, like, VH1 behind the scenes, behind the music type shows that they used to have, you would enjoy this. It's an interview style, so the story of like the band is being told through an interview. It's really good. And if you're gonna read it, I suggest doing the audiobook. It's a full cast of readers, characters, you hear the music. It really is the way to go when you want to read that book. I then read A Thousand Boy Kisses, and it killed me and I cried, but it was so good. This is by Tilly Cole. And it's a YA romance, which is funny because I don't read YA, but I read this one and it made me cry. I wanted a book that was going to make, like, because you ever know, you know when like you're reading and then you get done and you're like, I just want to die inside.
Hold up, wait a minute. Wow.
You know, I want something to wreck me. I want to cry. I went for that and it did its job. It really did its job. I then read Bunny by Mona Awad, and I already talked about that. I don't know what to say about that book that I haven't already said. I then read A Good Girl's Guide to Murder, which is the first in the trilogy series about a teenage girl who likes to go around and solving like cold cases. So, and a lot of people know about those books. I really don't need to explain myself. I then read Thirst for the Night, which I already talked about. I then read From Blood and Ash, and I again gave it a 5 stars. I loved this series. Okay, this is the only one I read from the series so far, but I do have the second one, which I need to read. But I loved this one. I just find Hawk to be yummy.
Ooh.
You a gynecologist too?
So that's why I like this. Then I read The Silent Patient, which I talked about, and then I read, yeah, let's discuss this. I read Hairpin Bridge by Taylor Adams. I got an ARC from Neck Alley, which I was extremely grateful for. I was extremely grateful. This book, the fact that it was written after No Exit, like the audacity that Taylor Adams had to write this book after writing No Exit.
Give me my money back, girl.
I don't know. Okay, look, this book was not good. It was not good. Like I was reading it and I read it quickly because I was hoping it was going to get better. You know, I just kept going. I don't want to spoil it for those who haven't, so read it. So just know that it was very hard to understand the point of views because it's told from a twin and then it's told from the dead twin's point of view, supposedly, and you don't know if what you're hearing about the dead twin is right or is it happening to this twin. It was very confusing. I didn't enjoy it. The action in this was over the top. It didn't need to happen. The ending was over the top. I just did not enjoy this one. And I don't know how you would write this after writing No Exit. I don't know. I then read Get a Life, Chloe Brown, which I highly enjoyed. It's the first in the Brown Sisters trilogy, which I still need to read the other two. So I will be getting to that this year as well. I then read oh God. See, this was bad because at least I had a little break in between like Hairpin Bridge and The Maidens. But like, I don't know. These people with their books that are like these hits and then they go and write these other books that are just, they're not good, okay? The Maidens. Talked about it already, didn't I not? Yes, I feel like I did a little bit. I enjoyed everything pretty much up until the end, and the end just kind of, and to me it's like the end has to like sell the book because it has to bring it all together. And if I don't like the ending, I'm not going to justify giving the book like 5 stars if the ending's crap. And the ending to me, I didn't like it. It was crap, so I didn't give it a 5 stars. I then read For the Love of Friends, which I talked about. I then had an ARC for 8 Perfect Hours, so I read that. I then read If the Shoe Fits by Julie Murphy because I had an ARC for this as well, and I loved this book. This is the first, I've talked about this before, but it's the first of a series called Meant to Be, and it's where different authors are getting different Disney princesses and rewriting their stories to fit into modern times. So I've talked about this before. I absolutely adore this book. The next book coming out in May is Beauty and the Beast. My favorite. The fact that it's coming out in my birthday month is even better. It's meant to be. The next book I read was Lock Every Door by Riley Sager, and this was my first Riley Sager book. I enjoyed it. I didn't love it, but I will give him another chance because I do have all his other books. So, you know, I might as well read them while I have them. But it's not, I didn't hate it, but it wasn't like shock. It wasn't like tier level to me, but I did enjoy it. I just wasn't like, that was my reaction when I found out the twist. I was like, oh, okay. I then read The Strange Case of the Alchemist's Daughter by Theodora Goss, and I absolutely loved this book. If you haven't read it, it's set in like historic time. It's more of a YA, kind of like YA young adult. YA is young adult, new adult, and it just follows the daughters of like all your monsters from like Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. I'm drawing a blank because I can't think of the other people right now. But they find out that their fathers were doing these experiments on them to make them monsters too, so they go around trying to stop these people that are still doing it. The next book I read, was this has got to be like my favorite romance of the year. I loved Birthday Girl by Penelope Douglas. Hands down, probably my favorite romance of the year. I think. It has to be. I loved this book. If you haven't read it, you know, you like age gap romances, things like that, give it a chance. It's good. Just know it's not like Christina Lauren level romance, okay? It's up there with your smut. I then read The Push by Ashley Audrain. Loved it, gave it 5 stars. Cannot believe this book was a debut novel because it was amazing. I already talked about it in my thriller, my favorite thrillers of the year. It was absolutely amazing. I then read It Happened One Summer by Tessa Bailey. Loved it. Loved the whole Schitt's Creek inspired character of, is her name Poppy? Piper. Her name was Piper. I have a cat named Poppy. She was Piper. And it's a Grumpy Sunshine romance. I then read They Never Learn by Lane Fargo, and I remember reading this book. Hey, there's some books that you read and you can like remember where you physically were when like you read the plot twist because it was that impactful. And this has a like mid-story plot twist. And I remember where I was. I was sitting in the car waiting for a thrift shop to open. And I remember when I read it, like I literally out loud gasped.
Oh my god. I'm Zun. Like, I'm Zun, okay?
And my parents were like, what's wrong? And my sister's like, she's just reading. But I was like, you've got to be kidding me. 1, that was an amazing plot twist. 2, why did I not see that coming? It was so amazing. But like, if you have not read this book, please go read this book. It is about a female serial killer who is a college professor who kills men who just are these terrible men. That's all I'm going to say. Just go read it. It's so good. Then, God, after that, I read some bangers. I read Verity by Colleen Hoover, and I read Layla by Colleen Hoover. Fantastic books. I love Verity. It's a thriller. So good. Layla is a paranormal romance. It's so good. I really don't know what Colleen Hoover can't read. Like, this was the year of Colleen Hoover for, like, herself. But, like, for me, too. Because I was introduced to her, and then I read, like, 4 per books. It really was Colleen Hoover year.
She's got a point. She's an icon. She's a legend. And she is the moment. Now, come on now.
I then read The Off Limits Rule by Sarah Adams. This was a Kindle. This was on my Kindle for free, I think. But I think it's on Kindle Unlimited as well. But it's a cute brother's best friend trope. It's a cute, the hero in it is a cinnamon roll. He's just cute. Just give yourself a chance and read that one. I then read They'll Never Catch Us, which is a YA thriller. It was good. Like, I'm having like a love-hate relationship with YA thrillers because like I enjoy them, but like I'm also like, does it hit the same as my adult thrillers? Like, could I be reading an adult thriller instead and, you know, be hit different? So I'm just having a love-hate relationship with whether or not I want to continue reading them. I then read It Ends With Us, and it ended me. I will never not say that because it did. This book wrecked me. It wrecked me. It put me back together. It took away everything. It gave me everything. It has the audacity to do that. But if you have not read this by Colleen Hoover, you need to. Like, trigger warning for domestic violence because it does cover that in the book. But just, it is so good. It is so good. I then read November 9 by Colleen Hoover, and it was amazing too. It has an amazing plot twist in it. Like, she is the queen of plot twists. Like, there's really not one in It Ends With Us, because there doesn't need to be. But, like, all her other books really have some good plot twists in them. And this one, so good. So good. And then I read Fix Her Up by Tessa Bailey. I loved that book as well. I talked about it in my romance novels, or my romance favorites of the year. I read Float Plan by Trish Dollar. This was such a good, just like, about a woman finding herself again after losing her husband. Trigger warning in this novel for talk of suicide. So be warned about that. I then read Local Woman Missing by Mary KUBICA, and I absolutely loved it. It was my first Mary KUBICA, and this book, I loved it. I didn't know the plot twist that was coming. Then there was another, and I'm pretty sure there was another. You're hit like boom, boom, boom. It was so good. Like, I would read this one again. Because I feel like if I would read it again, I maybe would see things, but probably not, because I'm not one to catch things. Like when I'm reading, I'm always like, why didn't I catch that? So I'm going to try to be better, but then I'm like, I don't want to spoil the plot twist for myself. I then read House of Hollow by Crystal Sutherland, which is like a YA thriller horror type ordeal. I don't really know where to put this under, but I enjoyed it. I think I like it 4.5. I highly enjoyed that book. I then read White Smoke by Tiffany D. Jackson. I absolutely loved this book as well. It was my first Tiffany D. Jackson. This is like Get Out, Haunting of Hill House mixed together. So if those two things are kind of, you know, up your alley, give this one a try. I then read The Family Upstairs by Lisa Joel. Loved it. It has to do with cults. You know, I don't want to go into too much detail about all these books, but I love that book as well. The Burning Girls by C.J. Tudor. I enjoyed this one because it had like religious like aspects to it. I love that one too. I then read Pretty Girls by Karin Slaughter, and it blew my mind. It was my first Karin Slaughter. Absolutely loved it. Trigger warning for that. It's gory, graphic. It's just be warned, because if that's a problem for you, you might not want to read that one. Read The Final Girl Support Group. It was just okay. It was okay. It's my first Grady Hendrix. I enjoyed it. It wasn't like the best book I read, but I didn't like dislike it as well. So it's just like in the middle. Oh, I then read My Dark Vanessa. And guys, I have not talked about this yet on my channel because I need to do a recent reads. This book was so good.
I said what I said.
It was so good. If you have not read this yet and you're not triggered by like grooming or you know, sexual abuse, child abuse, things like that, give it a shot. But just know that that's what this book surrounds. But it was just so good. And then I'm down to my last 3 books of the year, and they were all Christmas books. So I read Window Shopping by Tessa Bailey. It was just like it was a Christmas novella that she put out, and it was just cute. I enjoyed it because it had to do with like decorating like a department store window, and she falls in love with her boss. Her boss is this clean cut, wears Christmas like bow ties to work, and then you get him like home and he is like dirty. Like you know like the Orbit commercials.
Fabulous! Orbit cleans another dirty mouth.
That's his mouth. Anyway, I then read Nick and Noel's Christmas Playlist by Cody Hall, and this book is I was looking at reviews on this book, and someone said this was like Hallmark, except they hook up. And that really is a perfect explanation for this book. I can't explain it any better than that. And then the last book that I read this year was In a Holidays by Christina Lauren. This was their like Christmas novel that came out last year, kind of like Groundhog Day, but in Christmas form. I will go into more detail about these last books and like recent reads that I have to do here soon. But for what it was, being just a Christmas romance novel, I enjoyed it. I think I gave it like a 4.5 stars. It was cute. I liked it. Really, it was what I was looking for in a Christmas romance. So there's really no reason to give it anything less than that. But that is my year in review. That is my 2021 year of reading. There was 44 books. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, be sure to give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing. If you're new, let me know down in the comments how many books you managed to read this year. I would love to know, and let me know what your favorite book of the year was. All my social media is linked down below if you want to follow me on my Goodreads or my Instagram to keep up to date with what I am reading. I hope you guys have a great day, and I will see you all in the next one. Bye, guys. Oh, man. No, man. Yeah. No. Hey. Hi. Hi. Oh yeah, and then I read A Quarter Silver Flame. Tootsie! Ah! Poppy! Hey! Don't be fighting back there. They can see you. Finding herself again. Find herself again. You think I live down south, but I don't. Sir! And our boss is like, I'm trying, I gotta be like, my mom's okay. Like, it's like a Hallmark book. Hallmark movie. But they get together. I hope you guys have a great day. Nope. Not done. Shh.